Hey everybody, it's Andy Cloudy Milder. In today's video, I'm going to show you what I picked up from Vinyl Villains in Edinburgh on Friday lunchtime for me. I got a haul. I got a haul from a second-hand record shop. I have not got a haul of records from a second-hand record shop in forever. Albums are much harder to find these days, and generally the price is prohibitive. I mean, I may come away with 1 or 2 albums, but I think you need more than 2 albums to call it a haul. And I found 6, and I spent under 50 quid. It's about 45 quid in all, and the 6 of them were priced between £5 and £9.99 for the most expensive one. These are all albums that you will have heard of. They're all albums I have heard of but never owned or heard before. They're ones that I have seen around. They're not particularly rare or difficult to find, but still I think it's fairly rare to find them at these prices. They're all priced up based on the condition. I mean, I checked on Discogs, so they were all around the sort of medium or slightly below depending on the condition. So I wasn't getting a bargain as such, but just getting 6 records in 6 second-hand records, OG 80s records, in a single shop, in a single haul, is something that just doesn't happen to me anymore. So I was well excited, and I thought I would do a video. Sometimes when I buy records, they can go in my inbox, and it will take weeks or months for me to get around to them. You'll see them trickled across different videos, but I've listened to all of these now, and I'm going to show you what I picked up. As I say, you would have heard of all of these. You may well roll your eyes at some of these. I've probably rolled my eyes at some of these before, but I've heard them now, and I want to share what I thought. In the background, I am listening to Crash Alley from 1990. This is some DCLT I got from Greg the Blackmore Rules a few weeks ago. It's kind of like I don't know, like a glam hard rock metal type band. It's really good. One I didn't think I'd enjoy, but I will listen to it. What's not to? So, Vinyl Villains, 5 Elm Row, Leith Walk, Edinburgh. One of my regular record shops, but not one I've walked out there the last couple of times without picking up anything, which breaks my heart to do that into a record shop. But there we go. The first up, from a Scottish metal band from a Scottish record shop, is Heavy Petting and Rock Ain't Dead. This is 1985. It's their second album. There's members of the band. You can tell they're a Scottish band because they fly in the unofficial Scottish flag. I think they'll call that the Royal Standard, or the Lion Rampart or something. Can you see the amazing bit of preservation that the previous owner has done for this record? I cringe when I see a little bit of tape on a seam of a record, but when it's all the way around, and to be fair, it's done incredibly neatly. I mean, this guy could have set up a record preservation business. I think it looks like there was a little bit of a seam split at the top, and because of that, maybe 1-inch seam split, they went completely bonkers with the sellotape, Scotch tape, I guess for you Americans, and went all the way around on every single edge to make sure the record underneath it stayed nice and fresh forever. I think that's why this was so cheap. It's a cheap album. I think this one cost me a £5. I was missing it. I really like the first Heavy Petting album. The third one's kind of okay, and this one sits slap bang in the middle. It's a fairly enjoyable listen, but it's nothing that will blow your socks off. I can guarantee that. A little bit sort of party metal maybe, but if you don't know Heavy Petting, give them a go. First time. Oh look, we even got the tape of the inner sleeve as well, all the way around, but not at the top. Polydor, like a custom Heavy Petting logo on the label as well. Decent enough album. It completes what I needed from Heavy Petting at a very cheap price. Sellotape costs more than £5 these days, so that's a bargain. Number 2. Now this is the one I was anticipating the most actually. This was $9.99. I very rarely see this in the wild, actually. This is Wolf's Bane, I cannot speak today. Live Fast, Die Fast. Their first full-length album, I think they may have had an EP out before this, but this is their first full-length album. Obviously, when people show a Wolfsbane album, we have to mention that this was Blaze Bayley's band before Iron Maiden, because none of us knew that. I have the second album, and I knew I would forget the name, Downfall the Good Guys, and I really like that one, but I'd always wanted this one and never heard it. And I don't think it's as good as the second one. It's got its moments. Songs like Money to Burn is pretty decent, but there's a few on here that think they're a bit naff. The jury's still out for me on Blaze Bayley as a singer. I used to think with Iron Maiden that he's a really good singer, and he is a good singer, but they didn't write the best songs for him. So you think in Wolfsbane they would, but I still think he just doesn't always suit the music. But really glad to finally be able to pick this up and listen to it. It's got the picture sleeve as well. This did have actually 3 seam splits, but I've done a pretty good job of sealing those up. I'm getting to be a little bit of an expert now in repairing album and album covers. What kept the price of this one down below the sort of medium for Discogs is, that's on the Deaf American label, is this one has had a huge seam split all along there. Now, I think I've done a pretty good job. I'm going to do a little bit more coloration on here, but the seam split basically went from the middle of the album name all the way along to here, completely ripped up there, but as I say, I've done a pretty good job so far. You can still see the crack there. Can work on that a little bit more with a bit more colouring, and you can actually, you can't quite focus, but you can actually read the album name now, which you couldn't before because that was completely did a good job of kind of jigsaw puzzling the name back together. But decent enough album to have in the collection. I do need to give it a few more spins, but not my favourite Wolfsbane. Now, this one did surprise me. I've passed over this album so many times. I've never felt the need to check out Vinnie Vincent stuff. I know he was in Kiss. I'm not a big Kiss fan. And I've seen it a lot. I just never picked it up, but there it was. Decent price. I didn't realise Mark Slaughter sang on this album. My assumption was this guy here was the vocalist. I love that body paint on there. It's just absolutely ridiculous and screams the 80s. But I think he's the drummer. That must be Mark Slaughter. Yes. Anyway, it's Vinnie Vincent. Now this is actually a pretty decent album. I thought this would be the one of the ones at this haul that I would think, okay, I've heard it, I'll pass it on. I don't really need it, but I'm glad I heard it. Well, I am glad I heard it. I am glad I've got it. It's pretty decent, middle of the road 80s hard rock with a bit of sort of metal going on in there as well. They very proudly call out that no synthesizers used anywhere on this album. It does kind of sound like they use drum machines though. It does sound a bit tinny in the drums. But what you've got is pretty decent tunes. Some of them are very almost 80s pop rock. But just about every song you will have Vinnie Vincent doing a completely almost, well, it seems like random guitar wankery noodling over the top. The solos are just it sounds like it could have been any backing track, and those solos he would have done them anyway. They're not necessarily keeping the songs, but I absolutely love it. I love a little bit of guitar wankery every now and again. Who doesn't? Alright, I know some of you don't, but I do, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. Will I go out and, I think they had a couple of albums, 2, 3. I don't need anything else from Vinnie Vincent. I don't really need this one, but I've got it, and I'm glad I have, if only for that picture right there. I think that's how I might have imagined myself in the 80s, but there we go. Vinnie Vincent's Invasion. Certainly not metal, but A Choir Boys, a bit of what you fancy. The big song off here, I think, was Hey You, I remember when that came out. So this is 1990. I said it was all 80s originals, but you know, I'm only a year out with this one. I always quite liked the Choir Boys. Never really bought anything by them. I always thought they were. When I wanted my fix of this kind of band, I would go more towards maybe the Dogs D'Amour. But these are a little bit different. They've almost got more of a sort of country vibe to them as well, which shouldn't really work for me. It's not my thing, but it works on this album, and it's really good. I have to say that for a British band, they are the most American sounding British band probably of all time. I think this was also a 9.99 one because it's in excellent shape, with quite a hard card in the sleeve, pictures and a bit of what you fancy. I don't need anything else at all from the Choir Boys. I'm really glad that I finally found this at the right time for me to buy it. There was nothing else that I needed instead. Excellent hard rocking, let's say late 80s, very early 90s rock, very much of its time. I hated that look at the time, but you know what, kind of grown on me a little bit. Suits and cowboy boots and rock music, to me that wouldn't have gone. What next? Okay, this is another one that surprised me slightly. I thought this would be a bit of a duffer, but I grabbed it anyway, and that's Vandenberg, Heading for a Storm. It's their second album. I don't have anything else by Vandenberg. I thought it would be maybe a bit too AOR for my liking, but it's 1983, I think this is, yeah. 1983. It's worth it for the last song, Waiting. There it is. Waiting for the Night. It's worth it for that one alone. Quite hard rocking. Vocals are a bit. I don't know, the harmonies and things that are going on are. I mean, they love their harmonies. There's Josh Zuma drums, harmony vocals. Dick Motorhome Kemper, bass pedals, harmony vocals. Bert Heerink, lead vocals, harmony vocals as well. And not missing out, Adrian Vandenberg himself, the brains behind the operation, who does guitars, keyboards, and harmony vocals. So there's a lot of harmony vocals going on here. That picture I thought was a bit weird. To start with, I thought, why have they blanked out all the albums that they're holding up? But I'm presuming they're holding up mirrors to light their faces, and it's incredibly arty and has gone straight over my head. Speaking of arty, I don't get that. I don't mind the odd bizarre album cover. I love the Gamma 2 cover with the sharks in the grass. That's one of my favourite all time. But floating sharks down a highway with Heading for a Storm. I don't know if somehow in Holland that has some amazing clever connotations along with it. But this is a good album. This one is staying in the collection. Probably a 6 out of 10, but a good 6 out of 10. And it's on Atco Records. One more. Oh no, this is one I didn't think I would be getting, and I wasn't sure if I would like it. It's Macaulay Shankar Group. Now, what this album is, this is the last piece in the Michael Shankar 80s collection puzzle. But this is obviously Macaulay Shankar Group when he was singing. We had Robin Macaulay on vocals. This is their second album that they did, but the last one of the 80s. Perfect Timing was the album before. I really don't like that one too much. It's just a bit too keyboardy metal, and it kind of, to me, it lost that Michael Shankar edge. And the whole point of how Michael Shankar is, is a phenomenal guitarist. And you want to hear him being phenomenal. You hear it a lot more on here. This one's a lot more rocking, even though they have a keyboard player. Steve Mann does guitars and keyboards. The keyboards are a lot better mixed into the songs, and they enhance the songs rather than drive the songs. Save Yourself, absolutely fantastic song. So Robin Macaulay hasn't actually changed much. I picked up the Michael Shankar Fest live in Tokyo Blu-ray a couple of months back now, and big fan of Gary Barden era of Shankar, big fan of Graham Bonnet era. But as I say, I wasn't so much of the Robin Macaulay era. But on that DVD, he does 3 songs, and honestly, they're probably the 3 best songs on the album in terms of the live performance. So that got me going back and checking out Macaulay Shankar Group again. Perfect timing, still hasn't clicked. But this album is really good, and Macaulay sounds fantastic. And Save Yourself is easily the best track on the album. And, also with a well-preserved inner sleeve as well. Great to tick off another 80s collection, and I'm delighted I actually like it as well, rather than it being a space filler. I was thinking about getting rid of Perfect Timing, but no, I can't, because I wouldn't have a complete collection. That wouldn't be allowed, would it? Right, that's my haul from Vinyl Villains from Friday. Let me know what you think of these albums, and I'll see you again soon, because this video is done. Thanks for watching.